Hi people. So I was rummaging on my hard drive and find my old Pokemon ROMs, and I thought, well, let's do something with them. Not that I'm out of games, but just the anime is closing, we dash going out of it at least until they realize it sells better if stays within the cartoon. So went up to YouTube and looked after some challenges and stuff and found Jiro's 11th video with only Magikarp versus Pokemon Red. And what's interesting in it is why even start it? It was obvious that there will be ghost types. Watching this, I immediately remembered a bit from Bulbapedia and made my own Magikarp because of it. A university Magikarp, or at least I thought it will be. You can see the stats, and I pumped it to level 100 with rare candy, but I finished it with a lower level, so it was all fine. But just to be able to compare the stats with, because there were two other videos. So, Jiro's 11 made another video where he used Magikarp in the second generation in Fire Red Leaf Green, the remakes. I never will understand these remakes because there was Crystal. If you do a remake, why don't you remake Crystal with better graphics, updated mechanics, and all that? And come to think of it, why then the community never made a patched version of Pokemon Red, Blue, Green if you want? Which games I actually do like because they are well paced. The puzzles, the logic mechanics are good. It gets a bit hard in the end with the multi-level puzzles, but it's still nothing like Platinum's distortion word puzzle. So this is why in my book Pokemon Generation 1 is, despite being a buggy mess, and if you retro-engineer it, it's a horrible game because you are not told, but you should grab the legendary birds and use them to be the Elite Four and the champion. The starters were not made equal, and that's a horrible thing, and the Elite Four is just trolling you to no end. And there is no infinite experience aside the random Pokemon spawning in the tall grass. We won't see a proper tall grass until the third generation. Thing is, I genuinely like Generation 1, and from the first 5 generation I hold that to the highest degree despite being a bloody mess and the Elite Four being a particularly bad joke. But so I made my character and named the rival after Jiro's because I remember the University Magikarp. As you can see on the screen, there was the Bubble Magikarp, which was from another event. It's a sad thing you can't get these event Pokemons uh, anywhere, they are particularly limited. And as you can see, the Bubble Magikarp was from Generation 2, but you can transfer it back to Generation 1 because Bubble can be found in Generation 1, while the other Gen 2 event Magikarp had this Other move which you only got introduced in Generation 2, so that's not an option to transfer back through time or whatever they were calling the feature back then. Giro's pretty much did his run with the reversal the Magikarp because in Generation 2, in the remakes of Generation 1, Magikarp got Flail, which it works exactly like Reversal, only it is a normal type, and Gen 2 normal type could hurt ghost Pokemons. Yeah, that exactly was his reason. Another video I wish to call attention to is Scott Stout's channel's Magikarp might be able to beat Pokemon Yellow. He did a proper playthrough through Pokemon Yellow and can show footage of it. It's not very different from the Magikarp version because for the University Magikarp you will just use the Dragon Rage all through the playthrough because it's just so much stronger. There are stages where the encounters will become a two-shot KO and a three-shot KO, and in the variant there's three-shot KOs. But in the end, it's just using Dragon Rage all over. The problematic points will also be the same whatever you do. The Electric Gym, Brock's Gym at the beginning, you know, well, not with the University Magikarp with Dragon Rage, but whatever. And the Leaf Gyms, oh, those will hurt. The first two hit battle will be Vermilion City, the Electric Gym, and the first three hit battle will be against Giovanni with if you have Dragon Rage. The real difference Scott's playthrough to mine comes when you meet the rival when you start going to Victory Road, Road 22, if I'm correct, where I used the tackle because I did not pay attention that the University Magikarp came at level 15, unlike the Bubble Magikarp, it came with the proper starting level, level 5. So, if you want to call me cheat, well, I accept that, but actually my playthrough at least shows what the advantage of Bubble Magikarp would be, and maybe in the future I will do a playthrough with that version. I didn't have to mess around too much with my ROM, so with the Game Genie code I could add I could change the starter, and with the Game Shark code I could modify the moveset of the Magikarp, so I just added the Dragon Rage as a third option. Compared to Bubble Magikarp, I expect Bubble would be better at the end because it's stat dependent, while Dragon Rage is massively advantageous during the start because of the fixed the damage, and the Dragon type doesn't have anything to resist it or especially be immune to it. But this shows how smart as I am, and that's how I called my character. It took a while for me to figure out what items to bring in, but in the end I managed to sort it myself out and bought all kinds of special items, although I only used healing items and X attack so I outspeeded everything and had no trouble finishing it. Actually, there are so many, uh, so much money in the game that you can buy 99 full restore and 99 hyper potion from it, and you even have a couple thousand left. The main thing for Lorelei, the first elite, is that you can set up the 6x attack during the seal, and you can do it through the whole group with the tackle if you want to. This proved to be a bad idea actually, but it turned out perfect for this playthrough. It just resulted in a funny coincidence, but I had to use hyper potion during this elite, and that was not the idea run, but it shows it is 100% doable whatever you do. I was just very worried during using Dragon Rage, but that's it. At this stage, I was convinced that I had a bug and the full heal did not remove my paralyzation, so I was absolutely glad I bought in paralyze heal and healing potions of different kind. But well, you know, this was just an honest mistake from my part. Koga is really something where tackle would not work. For all the elites and the champion, I made test runs to see how they react. I'm not a professional player, so I was fine with saving between the stages and doing these test runs just to see how much damage I can do with my two attacks. Will I need to use struggle? How much damage they are doing? And because I thought I was with a bugged version where full heal will not remove my conditions, or I just completely forgot that it can remove all conditions that's written on the screen like freeze. I will I just got annoyed and reloaded. I have 99 full heal and 99 hyper potions, so I could just heal myself to no end and get through Koga. It was really. So Koga is just annoying, and I just forgot what the items do, but it's 100% doable. It's not a real problem. Now on to Agatha. This was I was worried a lot because I didn't know how much the Gengars will heal themselves, and elixir is the ether is not unlimited. This is another fault of Generation 1, and especially red, where red don't even give you infinite money because blue has Meowth. I don't really care the money is not that much. You have access to it, and that would satisfy me. But, you know, I got some lucky hits here, and took a while until I figured out when I had to heal properly to make it safe. But Agatha is, again, if you have 99 full heals and stuff, and use the flute that wakes up the fat blue Pokemon, uh, Snorlax, uh, then you are safe here and you can set up 6x attack, which I advise to use even though the Golbat, which is the second Pokemon, will very likely remove all the buffs, but normal tackle doesn't do much damage. Buffed tackle does half, so it's advisable to do it even if you don't. I realized I should have brought more X attack, but it doesn't really matter in the end. It spares you using Dragon Rage, and thus, the elixir and ether is not in unlimited quantity, and I was particularly worried about using those. I was surprised that none of Gengar's attack, like Nightshade or even the occasional Dream Eater when I misclicked or didn't care, didn't hurt me a lot. I was actually satisfied with my Magikarps, IVs, whatever they were. I found no calculator, but comparing just the HP on level 100 uh, to the other two YouTubers who did the Magikarp run, it was interesting to compare the stats. After Agatha, I was very happy, but was a bit worried and thinking about what items I should use because if I push up all my PPs, then I will lose the advantage of struggle and I will have all the splash PPs and I was left with one PP on Dragon Rage and I should utilize it or not. In the end, I went into Lance. It was a pretty okay run until now. I was pretty worried about Gyarados. It caused massive trouble previously with its hyper beams and stuff. But as you can see, it didn't bother me too much. But this battle has a particular problem that if you spend too much time here, uh, he the Gyarados might cast too much Leer on you, and 3-4 Leer gets highly problematic with all the Pokemons using Hyper Beam. They start to hurt a lot, like 120 or something, so you have to take into account that, and it becomes a gamble if you get hurt too much with because of Leer. But in the end, I managed to pull it out. Yeah, that's the main problem with this. They are using these heavy hitter moves, and the Leer, it just gets in the way. Because, you can have infinite hyper potions, but uh, if they are one-shotting you, then that was it. One more thing, the Aerodactyl. Now that's the most annoying Pokemon from Lance. You can barely hurt it no matter what you are doing, and it has all those crazy moves, and it hurts. It simply hurts. So because of all the layers, the bite deals a substantial damage, so it's all the variable hyper beam and the occasional critical. Oh, critical would be terrible. Critical hit would just make you start over. I was absolutely lucky. I never got a very heavy hitting critical from the AI. And Dragonite was, just one more Pokemon. Aerodactyl was what causing the real trouble. But all of them would have posed a problem if I was just using Dragon Rage and not Tackle. That really alleviated me. Now for the champion, I of course made it use Venusaur, Big Bulbasaur. This is not Pokemon Yellow, this is Pokemon Red. That gave me a serious headache, and if I was not able to use Tackle and set up the 6x attack, that's a major trouble. It's not even the Hyper Beam it is set up to use, or Solar Beam, yeah, Solar Beam. Uh, but yeah, is that a grass move? I'm not looking that up. Uh, the Razor Leaf in itself is just lethal. It does horrible amount of damage. I was on the brink of crying when I met the rival at the other end of the Victory Road on Route 22. I just had to level up constantly, and that's why I was bringing all the rare candies into this. Because if I had to level up, I was just not doing it manually anymore. But I fortunately did not need that. For Raiden, you can see it was pretty much it pretty much didn't matter what I use, 6x attack tackle or Dragon Rage. It did kinda the same damage. It was going well. I didn't worry for too much of the Pokemons. Alakazam goes down very fast for tackle, physical damage. Pidgeot can do like anything against you. The Gyarados is just one more Gyarados. It isn't even supported by Leer. Of course, Gyarados and Arcanine are can set you up with Leer, and that's just not good. And the Venusaur. And I was worried about the Venusaur because in the first try I was not aware what is happening, and I was so happy that I shot at it with a 6x attack tackle with that hard. I thought it was a bug, but this proves it wasn't a bug, it was just 6x attack tackle. And with this, I won. I became the champion and proved that the event Magikarps can win Pokemon Red.